Wikipedia search, it's going to tell you right off the bat that cultural Marxism is a conspiracy theory, which I think means it's probably true, right? I mean, if you look at the history of recent conspiracy theories, yeah, of course they're going to say that, but this is all around us, everywhere. It really is like the Matrix. Number one, the failure of Marx's predicted revolution led to something in Germany right before World War II called the rise of the Frankfurt School. Boy, this sounds good. School, kids, right? We're going to teach the kids. And that's exactly what they were after. This is an innocuous name, but the real goal was to indoctrinate children against the establishments of the pillars of Western culture and society. Go after the children; they're a lot easier to win over than the adults are. In 1930s, Max Horkheimer member of the Frankfurt School, insists that a different kind of revolution is necessary because it's never really going to come from the working class in the West. One of the reasons for that is the working class in the decades after the initial industrial revolution, they started enjoying more and more, and they were pretty satisfied with their lives in the suburbs, right? So they didn't have a whole lot of motivation to rise up against the man. It was kind of a win-win, right? Which that's the way a good free market economy should work. But Horkheimer says you're never going to get real revolution from the working class, and so we got to find a different source. Need to expand this thing out a little bit. Freudian therapist and extreme Marxist Erich Fromm joins the Frankfurt School and pioneers sexual liberation and gender politics. That has been there since the beginning. Okay, if you've read much Freud, you know it's all about the libido and the id and the ego and the superego and the drives and satisfying those drives and things like that. So it's not surprising that Fromm, who was a student of Freud, would be very focused on sexual motifs. In 1932, Herbert Marcuse joins the Frankfurt School. In 1934, 2 years later, he moves to the United States, moves to New York City. Anybody want to guess what university he landed at?
I would say it might be Columbia.
Columbia. Okay, that was the main hub of the Palestinian encampments last year, if you remember. Some things don't change much. So he comes to Columbia with his bad ideas and eventually pioneers what became known as PC, political correctness. If you're over 25 years old, you're probably familiar with that term, right? You don't hear that a lot anymore, do you? But it's still there. It's there on crack now, okay? But the idea of political correctness was a Marcusean idea. He was just so full of bad ideas. Together with Max Horkheimer and Theodore Adorno, Marcuse launches a platform to undermine traditional Western values and institutions, and this is known as critical theory. Why do you think they call it critical theory? What's it going to do? Criticize everything. Criticize, criticize, criticize. This reminds me of the word Satan in Hebrew, the adversary, the opponent. It's so consumed with tearing down, dividing, undermining, it never builds anything. All it does is criticize, criticize, criticize. There's a place for criticism of history, of Western history. There's the good and the bad, and we have to be able to discern which is which and improve things as we go along, but this doesn't build anything. Critical theory, all it does is tear down and divide. Okay? In the 1960s, Marcuse teams up with a guy named Rudi Dutschke. I think that was at Berkeley. It was either UCSD, San Diego, or Berkeley, probably Berkeley, to advocate for the gradual neo-Marxist revolution through what Dutschke termed the long march through the institutions. That phrase, long march, does that remind you of anyone else in history? Founder of the Chinese Communist Party? Mao Zedong, yeah. That's where he got the term. Dutschke says, I'm borrowing this from Mao, the long march through the institutions. And what Dutschke and Marcuse meant by this was to turn the historic institutions, our schools, our media, our museums, our libraries, even our churches, into